This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by Ocean City Tourism.
We know that there is no shortage of creative drinks, great restaurants, and fantastic atmospheres all along coastal Delmarva. One such hidden gem in Berlin, Maryland is Forgotten 50 Distilling. I am hanging out with Cody Miller, the head distiller here at Forgotten 50 Distillery. Now, distilleries, you said, have kind of been around for a while, right?
Yeah, they've been around for well over 100 years.
Sure.
Throughout the country. And what we're starting to see is the craft distilling renaissance.
Yeah.
Kind of where craft beer was 10, 15 years ago, we're starting to see that with craft distilleries. And what we're doing here at Forgotten 50 Distilling is creating a premium brand of spirits.
Nice.
We've started with a vodka and a gin so far. We're actually in the middle of bottling our gin today. And got some new flavors coming out.
Awesome.
And hopefully within the next 2 months or so, we'll have a citrus flavored vodka and a white rum to follow. And
Yum. No, I'm excited. I know that I like gin. A lot of people tend to turn their nose up at gin. Do you know why that is?
it's the juniper, really. I mean, juniper is the main component in gin. So you're basically taking a vodka as your base, adding juniper, and that's what makes a gin.
Yum.
A lot of people over the years have had the traditional English style gin, which is, a heavy juniper. So you get some citrus in there, and then it's very dry, and I'm sure they've had a very rough time with some certain brands of gin. What we've created here is what we call an American style gin, where it's not as heavy juniper. You get a very good citrus, lemon and orange notes coming through, and then with ours, we use 15 different botanicals, so you get a lot of different spice, floral notes, and like I said, the citrus, and medium juniper.
Nice.
And that's just one variation of gin we plan on doing. We'd probably just do seasonal gins.
Yeah.
And utilize, local botanicals when we can, and herbs and different fruits as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned local, so what are maybe some of the advantages to having the distillery right here in-house with a restaurant like this?
Oh, it's great. We have 2 bars here on site that allows us to create our spirits and utilize them in our craft cocktails. And not only that, while I'm building the brand, we're utilizing a lot of other Maryland-made spirits.
Yes.
And really just showing love to, our friends in the distilling.
So I know that a lot of people are probably familiar with breweries, but maybe not so much distilling. So what is sort of the distilling process look like?
So it actually takes us back to brewing,
Nice.
where we do a mash of sorts. We have a vessel over here we call our mash mixer. That's where we'll make our rums, our whiskeys, brandies, agave spirits. We'll all start in the mash mixer. What we'll do is cook, whether it's a whiskey, all of our grains. If we're doing rums, it'll be our sugars, molasses, maybe black shot molasses, evaporated cane sugar. Once it's all cooked, we then send it to fermentation tanks.
Okay.
So we're fermenting what we call a distiller's beer. Distiller's beer. And it'll be somewhere between 8 to 12% alcohol.
Okay.
And then once it's done fermenting, we send it to the still. And then this is our still. This still is unique. It was custom made for us here and allows us to do small batch premium spirits, but it allows us to function and use the column if we want to create a nice high-end vodka or gin or rum. Then we can bypass the column and use it for whiskeys and brandies and the agave spirits.
Very cool.
And what we're doing once we get here, we're taking that 10% beer and concentrating the flavors and alcohol to about 40%.
Nice.
And then once we collect enough, we do one more distillation. That's where we do our main spirit distillation. And that's where we're separating our heads, hearts, and tails, collecting the hearts portion, and then that's what we would then send to our blending and bottling tanks, dilute it down with our reverse osmosis water, and then bottle at whatever the proof is on the bottle.
Very cool. It all just looks very cool too. It's a beautiful setup.
Very beautiful.
Well, we're kind of seeing how it's made, but we're going to kind of see the result of what gets made when CoastLife gets back. You're not going to miss that, so stick around.
This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by Ocean City Tourism.
All right, CoastLife, before the break, we were hanging out back in the distillery side of Forgotten 50 Distillery, but now we're going to kind of see the restaurant side. I know that we all love seeing all the amazing food that we have around this area, so we're going to introduce you to some really unique menu items. So I am joined by head chef Jeff Phillips. How you doing?
Hi, Leah.
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good. Well, I'm even more fantastic because I am smelling these delicious meals that are right in front of us. But first, just kind of talk to me about the menu here at Forgotten 50 because it's really unique. I've seen a couple of things that really kind of caught my eye.
I think our menu is a lot of farm to table stuff.
Yeah.
I think we try and highlight some local, suppliers like our Chesapeake Bay Farms beef and cheddar and ice cream that is done so well by Danny.
Yes.
And a local, bakery from Sean over at Crack of Dawn Bakery. Just makes my job easier when I have this nice ciabatta to work with, and really soft brioche rolls and such. And then as far as some of the items on the menu, I just tried to pick some things that weren't available at some of the other places, just to try and get people in here to get something where they can't get anywhere else.
So I guess I'm kind of going to just start with what's in front of me. What do we got here?
That's our Goat Island salad, and it's kind of named after down there in Snow Hill. Island is on top of the salad of beets and balsamic with some buffalo greens.
Right. See, I always try to get a little bit of everything, but sometimes it's just tricky. Some lettuce, got some balsamic, and got goat cheese. Here we go. That's the perfect touch of a little bit of savory, but also light and fresh, which if you don't want to be weighed down by your meal, it's a great choice. All right. I want to save room so I can eat a little bit of everything. What have we got here?
This is our crab guacamole, and it's made with house tortilla chips, and we make our guacamole from scratch pretty much every other day, and local crab meat.
Nice big chunks too.
What we can get. And we top it off with a little micro wasabi and this lovely watermelon radish and some endive on top. And we make this lime salt in the house, and that kind of gives it a little bit of zing.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that at first. All right, here we go. Cheers.
You like that?
I really do like that, and I think the crab is the perfect sort of Eastern Shore spin on a chips and guac classic. That's delicious.
It's one of our staples.
All right, now this has kind of caught my eye too, because traditionally I'm not really a steak eater, but this smells heavenly. So what do we got?
This is a chimichurri skirt steak. And this is inspired by a chef I worked for, Arturo Paz. And he had this, great thing going, kind of like this, with the arugula and the chimichurri. We added the ciabatta to it and the radish to give it some color, but it's a very flavorful cut of meat. And then with the chimichurri on top, it's just like...
All right, well, I'm going to come invade your space here for a second. Now, see, I said I wasn't much of a steak person, but I think now I am. This is delicious. So what is a skirt steak? What makes that? What is that? Don't you?
It comes off the belly of the cow. So it's really thin.
Okay.
And there's a nice little marbling of fat that goes through it to give it a really juicy, flavorful.
Yes, very much so. And all you could just taste all the flavors on top that are in that. It's just, it's amazing.
There's a lot.
That's a comfort meal right there.
That's one of our popular items too.
So you can see why this menu gets really creative, and I love that it's sort of local, supporting locals. You guys help out local farmers and other local businesses, and of course you take all of the great minds here in our area and put them together in some really delicious dishes. So what do the hours look like for people that are curious about getting a delicious meal here?
11:30 to 9.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, if you are looking for something a little bit creative, a little bit different, make sure you don't forget about Forgotten 50 Distillery and Restaurant, of course, in Berlin, Maryland. I'm going to try and polish off these plates, but we got some more CoastLife to get to when we get back.